Hey Coach CJ Easter here, and I help coaches across the country run more efficient and effective speed and strength training sessions. And today I have for you 4 simple tips that are going to help clean up your squat and your hang clean. So I've been spending a lot of time in the weight room with my football team as our off-season program has begun, and I've noticed a couple things that you're probably seeing in your weight room as well, and some simple corrections that will really help clean up the movements of the hang clean and the squat. So I'm going to go over those today, and hopefully you can apply these tips immediately and help your team in the weight room today. So the first one I'm going to talk about the hang clean is the grip. The 2 most important things with the hang clean are the start and the finishing position. I'm taking this from a Mike Boyle video that I just watched. And what he states is that if you can get the start position correct and you can get the finish position correct in the hang clean, everything in between almost has to take care of itself. So the first thing that I see wrong with the hang clean is in the grip. So a lot of times you'll see your athletes get lazy with their grip and let it roll down into their fingers. So they'll be in the proper position, but they'll let the bar roll down in their fingers. So a simple solution to clean that up is just to tell them to turn their knuckles down so that they get a good firm grip and they don't lose force in the pull. When they let it loosen their fingers, when they go to pull that bar, they're going to lose force because their grip is loose. So we want them to keep their knuckles turned down so that bar stays tight to the body, and when they pull, they're getting the full force of that pull into the bar. Alright, the other thing is with the catch position. So we talked about the start position, making sure we have the knuckles pointing down. In the catch position, the tendency is you'll see a lot of your athletes want to catch it here. Catch it on their wrists, alright, elbows down, and because they feel uncomfortable catching it up in the rack position up on their collarbone. Alright, but as the weight gets heavier, alright, your athletes won't be able to catch it like this. This will result in a broken wrist. So we want to clean that up even when they're doing just lighter weights so that as they progress and get stronger, they're catching it right all the time. So key thing with the catch position is to tell your athletes to bring their elbows up and in and let it roll back on their fingers. So they're going to want to they're going to grip it here. All right, this is pretty much the opposite of what we talked about with the start position. We want the knuckles down. When we pull, we get up to the top, we want to let it roll back on the fingertips, so we don't have to have a full grip of that bar anymore because we're catching it right along our collarbone. We're creating a shelf with our shoulders by rotating our shoulders, bringing our elbows up and in. So those are 2 simple things. Again, knuckles turned down in your hang clean in the start, and then at the top, letting it roll back on those fingertips, elbows up and in to create that rack. That's really getting those 2 positions that we're going to clean up your athlete's hang clean. Alright, the other thing I want to talk about today is the squat and some simple things to clean that up. One of the things I see quite a bit of is athletes want to go really out wide with their grip on the squat. Alright, what you want to do is you want to get your athletes, it's going to be uncomfortable to them, but you want to get them as tight as possible with their grips, because what that's going to force them to do, when they're tight as possible, it's going to force them to pinch their shoulder blades together, and that's going to keep their chest up. So when you're tight, get as tight grip as possible versus being way out here, that's going to allow them to be able to lose their posture in their thoracic spine. So we want to be nice and tight as we can to our shoulders, so that forces our shoulder blades to be pinched back. And then the next thing you want to have your athletes do is you want to pinch the shoulder blades back, tight grip, bring the elbows underneath the bar. In this position, they're going to be locked in, and it's going to force their chest to stay up. So again, don't let them go out wide here. Have them get as tight as possible, pinch the shoulder blades back, and bring the elbows underneath the bar. That's going to keep the chest up. And a good exercise to have your athletes do if they're struggling with keeping their shoulder blades back and keeping their chest up in the squat is to have them do isometric holds in a row. So you get them in a bent over row position, nice flat back, and then you have them row up, pinch your shoulder blades back, hold it there, then back down. Hold it. That's going to train them to pinch those shoulder blades back in the squat. And the last tip I want to talk about with the squat is the initiation of the squat. One of the common problems that I see is knees pinching in with the squats. All right, so when you teach your athletes to cue the squat, you want to make sure they do two things. They sit their hips back and they spread their knees out. That's going to open up their hips and allow them to get full depth. All right, we don't want to let the knees pinch in. That puts a lot of stress on the ACL, results in knee injuries. All right, so we want to have our athletes fight the knees out. A good way to train that is to get a band and actually have them do their warm-up sets with a band around their knees, so they're forced to fight out. All right, so when they initiate that squat, it's hips back, knees out. Hips back, knees out. All right, so before they go down, it's hips back, knees out. That'll allow them to open up their hips as they get into the squat. All right, so those are my 4 simple tips to help clean up your clean and squat. Hope they helped out, and hope you can take these tips and apply them in the weight room today. All right, thanks, Coach.